Hey dreamers, welcome back. Cozy up, hit like and subscribe, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more bedtime stories. Drop your location and time below. Take a deep breath. And let's begin. Maya Sinclair had never been afraid of dolls. In her small, pastel-walled bedroom, she'd outgrown the plastic figurines of her childhood and moved on to novels and sketch pads. But when her only living relative, Grandmother Agatha, vanished without a trace, Maya inherited more than an estate. In the dusty attic of the Sinclair homestead, she discovered a tattered wooden box sealed with rusted iron clasps. Inside, dozens of dolls' heads peered up in solemn silence. They ranged from porcelain beauties whose painted cheeks had long since cracked, to ragcloth figures threadbare and misshapen. Some had glassy eyes intact. Others lay discarded, shards of blue and brown pupils scattered among broken limbs. A letter from Agatha lay atop the pile. Dearest Maya, I cannot stay. I've become part of the playthings myself. Do not open this box by daylight, nor by moonlight. But if you must, beware the hour you find them under your pillow. Maya laughed off the warning as mere eccentricity until the first night she heard the scratching. It began just before midnight, a faint scuff against her mattress. Heart pounding, she lay rigid, listening as tiny nails scraped wood. Then, as a sudden chill crept along her spine, a low voice hissed, "Maya!" Maya leapt from her bed to the attic stairs, a panic-stricken dash that left her breathless. Every bulb in the hallway flickered until darkness swallowed the landing. She returned to her room by dawn's pale light, convinced it had been a dream. But on her pillow lay a small porcelain doll, no larger than her palm, its cracked lips frozen in a silent grin. The next night came with heavier warnings. At 11:47, the doll's whispering began. Dozens of voices, each so soft she mistook them first for the wind tapping through window panes. They murmured her name, Maya. Maya. Then shapes formed at the edge of her vision. A tiny rag doll with one glass eye, rocking back and forth just beyond the fringe of her bed covers. A miniature ballerina whose tutu shimmered in the starlight, yet whose face remained blank. By night 3, she could no longer ignore the truth. The box had followed her downstairs and settled beneath her mattress. When she lifted the bedskirt in frantic dread, she found 50 dolls arranged in a perfect semicircle, each foot aimed toward her sleeping spot. Their faces seemed to leer, the cracks in their porcelain cheeks widening like gaping mouths. One held a tiny scroll of yellowed paper, inscribed in Agatha's trembling script. "They hunger for your dreams. Offer them one soul, or they will take yours." Sleep became impossible. Every attempt at closing her eyes summoned their chorus of demands, soft but unrelenting. A secret, a fear. They pleaded in harmonies that slithered through her mind. At dusk, she wrote her deepest sorrow on a slip of paper. I failed her. She meant her mother, who died when Maya was only 8. She tried to place the paper at her grandmother's emptiness at the foot of her bed, but the dolls intercepted it. That night, they recited her confession in arches of broken lullaby until tears streamed down Maya's face. Driven to desperation, she researched occult remedies in the dank corners of the Sinclair library. The books told of soul-bound dolls, vessels for the restless dead, powered by grief and fed on nightmares. The only cure lay in unmaking the original binding, a ritual requiring the voice of the one who bound them. Maya crept into her grandmother's old workshop and found Agatha's diary, filled with feverish entries about opening the gate and collecting playmates. The final line was scrawled in blood-red ink. Midnight. Pillow. New companion. At midnight, Maya prepared a circle of salt and candlelight in her bedroom, the diary open at the ritual page. She placed the most cracked doll at the center and read aloud the incantation, her voice quavering. By silent tongue and trembling hand, I sever bonds twixt clay and land. By broken vow and final plea, I set you lost and set me free. The room went cold. Every candle blew out in unison. Maya's heart slammed against her ribs as the dolls rose from the floor, tilting their heads to stare with empty eyes. The cracked doll in the salt circle began to twitch, its porcelain mouth stretching into an impossible grin. Then, whispered all at once, came the words, "Not free. Until another sleeps." A terrible clarity seized Maya. The dolls would accept no escape. Their curse demanded a new playmate. And at that moment, the door behind her creaked open. She turned to see her own reflection step into the room, a doppelganger with black glazed eyes and a porcelain grin identical to the doll's. Maya screamed, but her voice was swallowed by the pounding of little footsteps as the circle collapsed. Salt scattered, candles shattered, and the dolls advanced. When her mother's old rocking chair began to sway by itself, Maya realized she could not vanquish them with words. Desperate, she whispered into the darkness what she'd kept hidden all these years. Her second deepest secret, the love she'd never allowed herself to feel for a childhood friend, Ethan, so tightly suppressed that even her own memories refused recognition. As the truth slipped past her lips, the dolls halted, their faces turning blank. In that instant, the double lunged. Maya felt porcelain fingers clasp her wrist, cold as bone. She seized the diary and thrust it between them, reciting a fragment of the binding spell in trembling defiance. Light exploded, blinding and white, until the room was empty save for the diary and the rattling box in the corner. Dawn's pale light found Maya curled amid broken dolls. The wooden box snapped shut on its own. She retrieved the diary, now ash-scorched at the edges, and whispered a final line, one her grandmother had never known. "I play no more." The box creaked open once, then fell silent. For weeks afterward, Maya slept easily. Sometimes she dreamt of porcelain cheeks smiling in the dark, but she awoke before they could speak. The dolls lay discarded in the attic, stripped of power by her confession. Agatha never returned, but Maya knew the curse had finally moved on, hunting elsewhere for midnight companions. And on the rare night when the moon was high and the wind rattled the windows, Maya swore she heard a soft creak from upstairs, as though dozens of little feet had taken one last walk through the hall, then vanished forever.